Beloved son, beloved daughter, stop everything for a moment. This isn't just another video or a fleeting coincidence. It's a divine appointment written in the calendars of heaven before you were even born. It wasn't an algorithm that brought you here. I, your God, moved every piece of the universe so that your eyes would cross with these words. Right now you've felt weariness, doubts, internal battles. You've held back tears no one saw and prayers you thought were never heard. But today, my voice breaks the silence. This message isn't random, it's a response. Don't ignore it. In the next few minutes, I'll touch what's been dormant, heal what you thought was broken, and awaken what you believed was lost. I brought you here because your time has come. Not tomorrow, not in some other era, but now. The spiritual world is in motion. Doors that seemed closed begin to vibrate with light, and angels position themselves around your name. As you read, the entire heaven leans toward your story. You thought you were alone, that the silence was abandonment, but it wasn't. It was preparation. Every tear was counted, every effort recorded. I haven't forgotten a single one of your sighs. And today I declare, what seemed like an end is only the beginning of something miraculous. This is the moment when my voice interrupts the noise of the world and tells you, stop, breathe, I'm here, and nothing is lost. My son, my daughter, don't close your heart now, because this word carries heavenly fire. If you hear it with your soul, something will change inside you. The weight you've carried will lift, the anxiety will fade, and you'll feel my presence wrap around you like a golden mantle. Stay until the end, because what's about to happen isn't entertainment, it's divine impartation. This isn't just a simple message, it's an open door. And whoever enters through this door doesn't come out the same. Comment Amen if your spirit feels it, because heaven just pronounced your name. And as you stay here, a prophetic hour activates over your life, an hour where everything can change. Welcome to your appointed moment. Heaven interrupts your time because the miracle has just begun. Beloved son, beloved daughter, nothing you're living through is coincidence. I've watched you in every season, when pain weighed heavy, when strength failed you, when you thought it was all over. But listen to this carefully, nothing escaped my control. Even in your silences, even in your exhaustion, my presence never left. You've gone through moments where your soul cried out in silence, where days felt gray and nights eternal. You've wanted to understand why things take so long, why the answers you crave don't arrive. But today, I tell you, the time you thought was lost was the stage where I prepared your promotion. Your story isn't stuck, it's under divine construction. Every tear, every battle, every not yet has been forming the invisible structure of something far greater than you imagine. I don't waste suffering, I turn it into a platform. I didn't allow your fall to humiliate you, but to teach you that my hand holds you even in the depths. The enemy wanted to convince you that heaven was silent, but I was never quiet. My voice has accompanied you in the smallest thoughts, in the sighs you thought no one heard. Remember those times you wondered if it was worth continuing? That moment wasn't your end. It was the exact point where I began writing the next chapter. Today I declare from heaven, I'm entering your story not to watch from afar, but to rebuild it with power. The threads that seemed broken, the paths that closed, the dreams that dimmed, everything that seemed lost takes shape again under my hand. Son, daughter, I'm restoring what pain stole from you. Where there was betrayal, I'll sow restoration. Where there were tears, I'll plant joy. Where there was loss, I'll release purpose. The next minutes are sacred. This hour is marked by heaven. As your eyes read, angels move, doors align, scattered pieces begin to connect. There are decisions that will shift in your favor without your intervention, because my power doesn't need permission to act. I brought you to this moment because your spirit is ready. You're no longer in the stage of pain. You're entering the stage of manifestation. What seemed stagnant will begin to flow. What seemed dead will resurrect. What seemed impossible will become testimony. Look around you, nothing seems different yet. But in the spiritual world, everything is moving. That oppression you felt in your chest dissolves. That knot in your mind begins to untie. That sense of emptiness fills with presence, because my spirit is descending upon you. I'm breathing over your story, your home, your plans. I'm opening doors you didn't know existed. I'm placing your name in places you haven't reached yet. I'm awakening the gifts that slept, the dreams you silenced, the prayers you archived with tears. Nothing you've lived through will be wasted. Rejection was redirection. Pain was purification. Waiting was growth. Everything that seemed like loss was preparation for greater glory. Let me enter, child. Let me remake your story from the inside, not with human haste, but with divine precision. Every event, every word, every closed door was under my supervision. Nothing escaped my design. This is the start of a new season. The winds have shifted. Heaven's clock marks your hour. You'll no longer live from the wound, but from revelation. You'll no longer speak from pain, but from the authority your trials gave you. You'll no longer walk in fear, but with the certainty that I go before you. And as this word enters you, I declare walls fall. Anxiety yields, the past fades, your spirit ignites. Faith renews, because I'm entering your story, not to repeat the old, but to write something entirely new. And when you see it fulfilled, you'll say with tears in your eyes, it was necessary. God never left me. It was all part of the plan. Stay here. Don't close this door. The next minutes can change your whole life. Comment I receive if you feel this word touches something inside you, because in this exact instant, heaven says to you, my son, my daughter. The appointed hour has already begun. Beloved son, beloved daughter, while you thought time was slipping away, I was redeeming it. What you believed was waste. What hurt you for years, what you cried over in silence, thinking it would never return. It's all under my clock, not yours. I don't work by earthly calendars. I work by the rhythm of purpose. You felt behind. You compared yourself. You despaired, seeing others advance while you waited. But listen well, you weren't stopped. You were being preserved. You weren't forgotten. You were being protected from mistakes, from haste, from decisions that would have destroyed what I'm about to deliver to you. I'm the God who controls the seasons. I stop the sun, turn back the clock, speed up processes, and extend days when needed. And I tell you today, your clock is being restored. The time you thought lost becomes fertile ground. Delay turns into momentum, and what didn't bloom before will now bear fruit with supernatural speed. I've seen your years of struggle, your failed attempts, your postponed promises. I saw when you thought, it's too late for me, but you didn't know my purpose doesn't age. When I mark the start of a season, age doesn't matter, past doesn't matter, mistakes don't matter. All that matters is that you keep believing, child. What took you years to understand, you'll grasp in days. What you tried to build alone without success will rise with a single breath of my spirit. I don't just multiply results, I multiply time. And today, I declare over you a divine acceleration. What took tears, what stole your strength, what the enemy destroyed, I rebuild with reward. There are promises that seemed asleep, contracts that weren't signed, opportunities that closed. But I am the God who opens doors without keys. I restore clocks, years, seasons, second chances, and what you lost in 10 years, I'll return in a single season. Don't fear. If everything seems to move fast now, it's because heaven has decreed acceleration. The world will call it luck, what is prophetic fulfillment. They'll think it all came to you suddenly, but they won't see the years of sowing, the nights of prayer, or the days of silent faith. I saw them. That's why I reward you publicly for every private sacrifice. The tears you thought forgotten are seeds that sprout all at once. The no that hurt becomes a multiplied yes. Lost opportunities return with interest. The places where you were rejected will call your name again. Listen closely. You didn't arrive late. You're arriving exactly when my purpose needs you. If you'd received before what I'm about to give you today, you couldn't have sustained it. That's why I formed you first, refined you, purified you, prepared you, and now what once weighed you down will propel you forward. Son, daughter, I look at your calendar and rewrite it with my hand. Dates that reminded you of pain will now be dates of testimony. Anniversaries that once brought tears will now bring celebration. The time the enemy stole will be returned sevenfold. You've lived years sowing without seeing fruit, but the soil never stopped nourishing itself. Now the seed breaks through the earth, quickly, effortlessly, because the season has changed. You're entering my perfect time. Not man's time, not fear's time, but the time of fulfillment. Watch how it all fits together. Delays were training, losses were redirection, closed doors were protection, and pauses were my way of maturing you. Don't worry about the years you think you wasted. No year you lived was useless. Everything served, everything counts, everything is part of the design. I don't return time as it was before. I redeem it with purpose. You'll see restorations that leave you speechless. People who drifted away will be replaced by divine connections. Stagnant finances will begin to flow without explanation. Forgotten projects will revive with new strength. Ancient prayers you stopped making will start fulfilling one by one. This is a prophetic moment. Heaven's clock synchronizes with your heart. The hands turn in your favor, and I declare the season of loss is over. Now enters the season of rescue, restitution, and glorious return. What you lost in years, you'll recover in days. And when you see the fulfillment, you won't say, "It was quick." You'll say, "It was perfect." Son, daughter, my grace is swifter than your pain and more precise than your calendar. I don't arrive early or late. I arrive right when your soul is ready to receive. Stay alert. The first sign will be small, a message, an opportunity, an idea, a door that opens without you pushing it. Don't ignore it. It's my reminder that time is running in your favor again. Declare it now with faith. God, redeem my time, restore my years, accelerate your purpose in me. Comment 22 if you believe heaven is moving the clocks for you, because today your season of divine acceleration begins. Years of waiting transform into days of fulfillment, and heaven's clock just marked your name. Beloved son, beloved daughter, while you think everything is still, in the heavens there's movement. Nothing is stopped as you believe. I've simply hidden you for a time to work in your favor out of your sight. In this very instant, invisible dimensions are aligning with your destiny. You see calm, but heaven sees strategy. You see silence, but I hear the footsteps of angels moving around your name. There are conversations you don't know about yet, decisions being influenced, hearts I'm touching, and doors preparing to open in places your physical presence hasn't reached. But your name has already been spoken. I've heard your prayers, even those released between tears, the ones not said in words, but in groans. Each one rose like incense before my throne, and today those prayers are turning into motion. Nothing is lost. Nothing hangs in the void. Everything that came from your mouth in faith has an assigned direction, a purpose, and a determined fulfillment. Angels have gone out on mission. Some prepare the ground, others bring answers, and some simply defend your cause in the spiritual world while you sleep. You don't see it, but you're being protected from things you'll never know. I'm reorganizing the pieces of your story, clearing your path of invisible obstacles. And though you think nothing's happening, the heavens are stirred in your favor. Do you feel that pressure in the air? That unexplained weariness? It's not defeat, it's spiritual warfare. The enemy grows restless because he knows something is about to manifest. That's why he tried to distract you, discourage you, make you doubt, break your focus so you wouldn't perceive what's being done. But my spirit holds you amid the weight, because this time you won't fall. You'll rise with renewed power. Listen well. There are people mentioning your name in meetings, at tables, in projects where you're not present. And it's no coincidence, it's divine intervention. I'm positioning your name in places of favor, grace, and visibility. I'm softening hard hearts, changing perceptions, opening space for you where you were once rejected. The world will call it connections, what are really heavenly bridges. I move kings and the humble bosses and servants, so my purpose with you is fulfilled. And I'll do it without you manipulating, striving, or debasing yourself. Just trust, because when heaven decides to mention a name, the earth can't ignore it. Remember, it's not about human promotion. It's about destiny. Don't seek to enter by your own strength. Let my favor present you. The recognition coming won't be from your strategy. but from my backing. And when you get there, you'll know it wasn't you. It was my grace. I'm touching the doors that once resisted. I'm rewriting the past no's and turning them into prophetic yeses. I'm accelerating decisions stalled for years. And I tell you now, you won't need to knock on doors. They'll open on their own. Son, daughter, don't fear if everything seems to move without your control. That's the evidence that I took control. While you release, I act. While you pray, I decree. While you wait, I move what seemed immovable. There's a spiritual wind blowing in your favor. You'll feel it in small synchronicities, repeated signs, words that confirm again and again. There'll be reminders that my hand is behind every detail. And though human eyes don't see it, the atmosphere favors you. I've been hiding you in anonymity, not as punishment, but as strategy, because what is born in secret can't be destroyed in public. And now what germinated in your tears begins to bloom in my presence. Listen closely. I'm mentioning your name in the right place, before the right people, at the perfect time. And when they call you, it won't be coincidence. It'll be fulfillment. When you receive that unexpected opportunity, don't question it because I scheduled it. When something unlocks without apparent reason, you'll know the invisible moved in your favor. You don't know how many times I stopped attacks you never saw, closed paths to avoid your fall, placed my hand over you while you slept, and you woke at dawn without knowing you survived a night of spiritual war. But I know. That's why I tell you, don't fear what you don't see, because the invisible defends you, covers you, and goes before you. Son, daughter, I've placed your name on heaven's lips. The same God who raised Joseph from the dungeon, positioned Esther before the king, gave word to David in the field. That's the same one who today mentions your name in places of influence, blessing, and destiny. And when it happens, you'll know you weren't forgotten, you were reserved. What seemed like forgetting was protection. What seemed like silence was strategy. And what seemed like delay was the time needed for everything to move in the spiritual world. So don't despair. Don't try to force what's already happening behind the veil. Just stay in faith with your soul's eyes open, because the coming days will bring evidence. You'll know this is real because you'll see small victories chained together like puzzle pieces fitting one after another. That's not luck, it's fulfillment. Declare with me, Lord, I trust in the invisible. Even when I don't see it, I know you're working. Even when I don't feel it, I know you move. Mention my name where my presence hasn't arrived yet, and so it shall be. Comment 33 if your spirit confirms it, because the invisible is moving right now. Heaven is positioning you, and though your feet haven't entered yet, your name arrived first. Beloved son, beloved daughter, do you know why you're still here, despite the blows, disappointments, and silences? It wasn't your strength, not your strategies, not your intelligence, not even your ability to endure. It was my grace. That grace not measured by merits, not depending on how perfect you were, or how many times you failed, but on how many times you returned to me with a sincere heart. You've thought many times, I can't go on. Have you felt your faith slowly fading, your prayers bouncing off the ceiling, your tired hands no longer able to lift praise? But even there, in that weakness, in that soul exhaustion, that's where my power began to manifest. I've seen you on days when you rose only out of obedience, not emotion. On nights when you cried and still said, God is still good. Every tear was an act of faith. Every sigh was a prayer. Every painful step was a declaration in the spiritual world, saying, though it hurts, I still believe. And those small decisions, those acts of silent faith, have moved mountains in heaven. Because I don't seek perfection, I seek perseverance. I don't seek unwounded heroes. I seek children who, though wounded, keep walking toward me. Son, daughter, you feel weak, but you don't understand that your weakness is the door through which my glory enters. I never asked you to be invincible. I asked you to be true. I didn't want your strength. I wanted your surrender. I didn't choose you for your ability. I chose you for your heart. Remember? When I found you, you weren't ready. When I first spoke to you, you doubted. When I promised great things, you thought you weren't enough. But my grace covered every insecurity, every error, every wound. And today, that same grace sustains and propels you. I don't judge you for your falls. I look at your risings. Every time you said, "Lord, help me," my hand descended. Sometimes you felt nothing, but my spirit surrounded you like an invisible shield. And while you believed you were alone, I was fighting battles you couldn't see. Don't be ashamed of your tears. They were weapons. Don't be ashamed of your weaknesses. They were the ground where I planted my strength. Don't be ashamed of your mistakes. They were the paths that brought you back to me. Listen, my power doesn't manifest in man's greatness, but in his dependence. The world taught you that strength is not needing anyone, but I teach you that true strength is recognizing you can do nothing without me. And every time you said, "God, I can't," I replied, "You don't have to, because I can." Every time you saw yourself weak, I saw an opportunity to show you my faithfulness. So don't fear feeling you have no strength. Faith isn't measured by the absence of weariness, but by the decision to keep believing even when exhausted. And you've done it. You've believed without seeing. You've trusted without understanding. And that faith, though small, has moved my heart. Son, daughter, your weakness isn't your ruin. It's your meeting point with me. It's where your walls break and my presence can enter without resistance. It's where your control ceases and my intervention begins. I don't glory in your perfection, but in your vulnerability. Because when you surrender, when you hand over what you can't carry, my spirit takes it and transforms it into power. That's why today I tell you, don't flee from your weakness. Embrace it as an altar. Don't be ashamed of your scars, because they'll shine as signs of my faithfulness. I brought you here to remind you that the battle isn't won with strength, but with grace. You won't overcome by your skill, but by my favor. You won't advance because you deserve it, but because I decreed it. There are chains that don't break with effort, but with surrender. And as you surrender in faith, those chains fall right now. Yes, as you read, my spirit is doing what you can't. It's healing what you didn't know how to cure. It's correcting what you couldn't fix. It's lifting you where you thought there was no strength left. You wanted to prove to me you could, but I just wanted you to let me show you that I was always with you. Stop punishing yourself for your mistakes. Stop feeling unworthy for your failures. Grace isn't a reward, it's a gift, and you've already received it. It's upon you, and where guilt accuses, my love absolves. Son, daughter, I've clothed you anew with dignity, lifted you from the dust, and placed my seal on your forehead. Your story isn't marked by shame, but by redemption. The enemy wanted to make you believe your weakness disqualified you, but he doesn't know that weakness is what positioned you for my glory. From now on, every time you feel small, remember, my power grows within you. When you feel fear, say my name. When you don't know how to move forward, repeat, your grace is sufficient for me, because in that phrase, my strength activates. In that recognition, an anointing of restoration unleashes. And I declare over you, you'll rise with supernatural strength. You'll walk without tiring. You'll soar over what once knocked you down. You'll speak with heavenly authority. You'll shine with light not from the world, because my power is in you, not as theory, but as living presence. Comment 55. If you believe the enemy has already lost his power over your mind, because this hour is your emotional and spiritual restoration. Guilt dissolves, shame breaks, insecurity fades, my grace takes control. And when others ask how you did it, your answer will be simple, profound, and eternal. It wasn't me, it was God in my weakness. Beloved son, beloved daughter, what you lived through wasn't the end. It was a beginning disguised as loss. You believed they were burying you, but you didn't know they were planting you. The difference between burial and planting isn't the soil, but the intention. And heaven's intention was never your end. It was your flourishing. There were days when the earth over you felt heavy. Darkness surrounded you, silent solitude. You felt there was no air, no strength left. The world forgot you, and you began to think God did too. But what the enemy called failure, I called process. What seemed a tomb was a spiritual womb. While you believed you were dying, you were actually germinating. I hid you under the earth not to lose you, but to protect you. Because seeds don't bloom under spotlights. They bloom in secret where no one applauds, where everything seems silent. It was in that hiding place that I formed your roots. And roots, though unseen, determine how much fruit you can bear. That's why I didn't rush you, because premature fruit doesn't nourish, it rots quickly. I wanted to give you deep roots, roots that don't depend on applause, results, or approval, but on my presence. Your pain anchored you to the soil of purpose. Your tears watered it, your patience softened it, your faith was the sun that kept it alive. And now the time to sprout has come. You felt movement inside you, a holy restlessness, an awakening, a sense that something approaches, that something is the breaking of the earth. You're emerging from the darkness where I formed you, and though dust still clings to you, the light is already reaching you. I saw every part of your process, the rejection, the losses, the mistakes, the silences, and I used each as nourishment. Nothing was useless, nothing wasted. Even what you think had no sense was part of the spiritual food that strengthened you. Son, daughter, what hurt didn't destroy you, it planted you. And every seed sown in faith bears multiplied fruit sooner or later. You're not emerging empty from this process. You're emerging wiser, more sensitive, fuller of light. The earth that covered you will now be the testimony that supports your growth. Don't curse the dark stage, bless it, because there you met me. It was in solitude you learned to hear my voice. It was in loss you discovered what really matters. It was in waiting your spirit matured. Nothing you lived was punishment, it was inner construction. And now heaven announces the seed has sprouted. The shoots of the new begin to appear. What once caused fear now causes purpose. Pain is no longer your enemy, it's your witness. Because a soul that passed through fire unscathed carries glory in its root. I'm giving you a new level of stability. You'll no longer be easily moved, because your roots are now firm in my truth. The winds that once made you fall will now only make you stronger. The rain that once scared you will now be your ally. The sun that once burned you will now make you grow. And listen well, what's coming will be visible. I won't hide your fruit anymore, it won't stay invisible. The same God who planted you in secret will expose you in the harvest, not for your pride, but for my glory. Your story will become testimony. Your process will inspire others. Your voice, silenced by pain, will be used to heal those still under the earth. I'm sending rain over your field. That rain represents restoration, provision, and fertility. Everything that seemed dry begins to absorb life again. Your spirit refreshes, your mind clears, your faith renews, and soon you'll see the first fruits sprout. A reconciliation you didn't expect, a door opening without warning, an answer arriving quietly, a rest you don't understand but feel. That's my sign. The seed has fulfilled its time, and now I prepare you for multiplication. Don't fear the growth process. The same God who planted you in the earth will sustain you in the heights. Because I didn't plant you to see you fall, I planted you to see you bear abundant, eternal fruit. Declare with me in faith and gratitude, thank you, Lord, because you didn't bury me, you planted me. Thank you because what hurt formed me. Thank you because what I silenced germinated. Today I bloom not by force but by grace. And now listen, the sound you hear in your spirit isn't ordinary wind. It's the murmur of roots growing. It's the announcement that the earth yielded. You've overcome the darkness. You've endured the silence, believed in winter, and now the spring of the soul arrives. Comment 1212 if you feel your seed is sprouting, because heaven declares over you. You're no longer buried, you're planted. You're no longer hidden, you're cultivated. You're no longer victim, you're fruit. And very soon, everyone will see what I saw in you when no one else did. Beloved son, beloved daughter, not everything that hurt you was punishment. Much of what you saw as loss was actually strategy. I wasn't closing doors to frustrate you. I was closing them to redirect you. It wasn't rejection, it was repositioning. You saw chaos, but I saw precision. You saw delays, but I saw preparation. You saw loneliness, but I saw focus. I wasn't punishing you, I was aligning you with my eternal purpose. You've gone through seasons where nothing advanced, where you prayed and it seemed your voice faded before reaching heaven. But today, I reveal the secret of those silences. When nothing moved outside, everything moved inside you. I formed you in the invisible, because what has no root can't sustain the coming glory. I pulled you from places where you were comfortable, but stagnant. I disconnected you from people you loved, but who couldn't accompany you to the next level. I allowed closures that hurt, because I preferred to see you cry for a time than lose you forever. I don't destroy, I correct direction. And when I reposition you, I don't do it randomly. I do it with divine exactness. Son, daughter, the place you're in now isn't punishment, it's assignment. I know you don't fully understand it, that your natural eyes see only confusion, but in the spiritual world, everything is ordering in your favor. The pieces that once seemed separate now fit like a heavenly puzzle. The story that seemed broken now begins to make sense. Every closed door opened a better one. Every person who left made space for what's authentic. Every lost opportunity paved the way for an eternal one. Because I don't remove without purpose. Every move I made in your life, though it hurt, was a seed of redemption. I'm placing your steps on a higher path, a way where your feet won't slip, where storms won't topple you, and where my peace will be your guide. Yes, you heard right. My peace. That peace not from logic, not depending on results, not leaning on money or recognition, but on my constant presence. That peace the world can't give, because the world can't offer what only I am. You've confused motion with progress and noise with purpose, but I separated you from both, so you'd learn to move from silence, not desperation. I made you stop to align you, rest to strengthen you, wait to prepare you. Rest isn't pause, it's strategy. The enemy wants you exhausted, because a weary soul is easy to confuse. But I want you rested, because a soul at rest hears my voice clearly. So don't confuse my silence with absence, or my pause with punishment. I'm working, even when it seems nothing occurs. I'm straightening what twisted, aligning what deviated, repairing what you couldn't fix. This time that seems static is actually divine reconfiguration. I'm removing what's extra, adjusting what's missing, polishing what I've already sown in you. Don't move on impulse, move on instruction. Heaven doesn't bless haste, it blesses precision. You've wanted to run, force, push, but I call you to remain, because what's coming won't be gained by speed, but by alignment with me. And when you're aligned, time stops being an enemy and becomes your ally. Doors will open effortlessly, connections will happen naturally, weariness will disappear, because when you're in the right place, everything flows. Son, daughter, I'm teaching you to rest in my sovereignty, to not live from anguish, but from trust, to not depend on results, but on my will, to not chase the miracle, but walk with me until it arrives. Let me be your rhythm, not your clock. Let me mark your steps, not your deadlines. Let me lead you to the beat of my voice, because who moves by emotion stumbles, but who moves by revelation arrives exactly where I expect. That's why right now I call you to release. Release control, release anxiety, release the need to understand everything, because you don't need to understand. You just need to trust. My plan is higher, wider, wiser, and though you don't grasp it today, soon you'll say, now it all makes sense. I'm pouring over you an oil of rest. That oil dissolves mental fatigue, heals emotional confusion, and clothes you in spiritual peace. You'll no longer live chasing results. You'll live enjoying the process. You'll no longer pray from desperation, but from certainty. You'll no longer sleep in fear, but in rest, because a trusting soul sleeps in peace. And while you sleep, I work. While you rest, I fight. While you stay silent, I speak for you. Not everything is won by fighting. Some victories are only received by resting. That's why I tell you, let my peace fight for you. Let my hand move what you can't. Let my spirit place you right where you belong. This is the time of spiritual alignment and holy rest. You're no longer the one fighting to be seen. You're the one who remains and is found. You're no longer the one pushing doors. You're the one who sees doors open on their own. Because you're not punished, you're being positioned. Declare with me in a firm voice, Lord, I accept your rest. I release my anxiety. I trust in your alignment. I believe my position is in your plan. And as you say it, an atmosphere cleanses around you. You feel the air lighter, the soul calmer, the mind clearer. That's the sign. You've entered my rest. Comment 777 if you know God is repositioning you. Because today I declare over you, walls fall, pressure yields, the soul rests. It's no longer human effort, it's divine direction. It's no longer resistance, it's active rest. It's no longer punishment, it's heavenly positioning. And when you wake tomorrow, you'll know this was the night your soul breathed again. Beloved son, beloved daughter, you've spent so much time trying to push doors, fighting currents, forcing what wouldn't move. You thought heaven forgot you because you saw no results. But today, I tell you, nothing you did was in vain. Your prayers, your silent efforts, your unseen acts of kindness, all were seen and recorded in my book of justice. There are moments when heaven stays silent, not from indifference, but from preparation. I don't answer when you want, but when everything around you is ready to receive what you asked. And today I declare over you that time has come, the time of sudden favor, favor without explanation, favor that finds you without you pursuing it. This favor doesn't come as reward for your merits. It comes as fruit of your faithfulness when no one saw. You kept praying amid drought, kept sowing when the ground seemed barren. You kept believing when everything pointed otherwise. And that activated the invisible laws of the kingdom. Now heaven leans toward you. The wind begins to blow in your favor. Doors that resisted for years will open effortlessly. Hearts once hard toward you will be touched by my spirit. Places that didn't want to see you will now need you. Names that forgot yours will now pronounce it with honor. Divine favor isn't bought. It's inherited by faith. And you inherited this favor because you didn't give up. Because you chose to believe even when nothing made sense. Because you preferred to wait on me rather than surrender to discouragement. Son, daughter, prepare yourself, because you're about to live a sudden manifestation of my hand. It won't be gradual, it'll be sudden. The kind of change the world calls miracle, but you'll know it was the exact fulfillment of my word. You're entering a season where you won't have to push anything. Doors will open on their own. Resources you needed will appear effortlessly. The right people will arrive right on time. Not because you sought them, but because I sent them. I've ordered favor to locate you, and when God's favor locates a person, Earth's laws rewrite in their favor. Rules change, times accelerate, obstacles melt. Because when my favor enters, all resistance turns to path. Look back, every delay, every no, every detour was my way of sparing you false access. I didn't let you enter wrong doors because there was a specific door marked with your name, waiting for the perfect moment to open. And that moment is now. You no longer have to chase blessing. Blessing will chase you. You no longer have to seek validation. Validation will come through fruit. You no longer have to explain your process. Results will speak for you. I'm placing your name in environments where your feet haven't stepped yet. I'm inspiring conversations where your story will be mentioned with honor. I'm connecting invisible threads that will lead you straight to opportunities you didn't even know existed. And when it happens, it'll be so quick and clear you'll have no doubts. You'll say, this could only be God. You'll see the difference between man's work and the work of my hand. Man can give you a push, but only my favor can part the sea before you. Man can open a door, but only my favor keeps it open. Listen to this. When my favor descends, it doesn't just change external circumstances, it transforms atmospheres. People who once criticized you will feel peace seeing you. Environments that once oppressed you will turn light. Places that once blocked you will receive you with joy. Because my presence walks with you, and where my presence goes, everything transforms. It's not luck, it's grace. It's not coincidence, it's fulfillment. It's not chance, it's manifested prophecy. It'll seem unfair how quickly everything changes, but don't apologize for the favor I give you. Many won't understand how it was possible, but those who saw you cry will know it wasn't magic, it was mercy. And that mercy now lifts you, exalts you, honors you. You sowed in tears. Now you'll reap in abundance, not just what you lost, but what you never believed you could reach. Because my favor doesn't return equal, it returns multiplied. And when abundance arrives, when the miracle appears, when the answer knocks at your door, remember it was God's favor that found you, not because you did more, but because you learned to surrender. Favor always follows a surrendered heart. So stop running. Stop trying to do it on your own. Let favor reach you. Let the promise seek you. Let my spirit position you where your effort never could. You'll see opportunities arrive without apparent reason. Projects that were stalled will move again. Influential people will approach without explanation. And it won't be manipulation. It'll be destiny, son, daughter. This favor won't be temporary. It'll be permanent, a covering. It'll follow you wherever you go, like a shield of light. And even when others try to stop it, they can't, because it doesn't come from them, it comes from me. And when I decide to favor you, no one can prevent it. Declare with faith right now, Lord, I stop pushing what won't move. I stop chasing what you've prepared. I allow your favor to find me, cover me and direct me, that everything that's mine finds me effortlessly, and so it shall be. Favor will find you, not because you run toward it, but because heaven already located you. Comment 22, if you believe divine favor is already seeking you, and as you declare it, feel this whisper in your spirit, rest, child. Don't pursue anymore. What's yours has already begun moving toward you. This is the hour when those who waited in silence begin to shine without explanation. Favor manifests, and you're about to become that living evidence. You won't have to push it, because the miracle is already walking toward you. Beloved son, beloved daughter, there are moments where faith and knowledge intersect, where science confirms what the Spirit always knew, that the mind, heart, and word create invisible paths. Receive this revelation, because I am the God of all truth. I inspired the wisdom of the wise and the understanding of the righteous. And today, I show you a secret that turns scarcity into abundance and confusion into clarity. For years, you've prayed for provision, stability, tangible change. And many times you thought I didn't respond. But the truth is, you couldn't receive what you hadn't yet believed possible. Your words build or destroy your future, and the frequency of your thoughts opens or closes portals. They designed you with creative power, and the enemy has tried to dim that awareness to keep you bound to fear. That's why today I tell you, there's a phrase that activates what's dormant, a hidden key in the vibration of your own words, a brief prayer, an ancient code that awakens your sleeping faith and reorganizes your inner energy with divine purpose. Son, daughter, this key isn't magic or superstition. It's an eternal principle. Just as a seed germinates with water and light, your spirit flourishes when you speak words aligned with my will. That's why I said, be it done according to your faith, because what you speak in faith awakens the invisible mechanisms of creation. Not everyone will understand this. Some will call it luck, others coincidence, but you'll know it's divine intervention clothed in spiritual wisdom. When you speak conviction, your soul and surroundings respond. When you declare from gratitude, not lack, you open the channels of provision heaven already had ready for you. Many of my children were freed from debts, found stability, recovered lost jobs, and experienced unexpected financial miracles, not by human formulas, but because they understood the connection between word, belief, and purpose. And though some hide this truth, I reveal it to those who seek with pure hearts. There's a hidden phrase, 9 words that awaken the spiritual mind, which thousands discovered when they decided to open their spirit to the supernatural. A phrase that unites the scientific with the sacred, because even men's studies begin to confirm what my prophets wrote centuries ago. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. So don't say, I have nothing, or my provision is on the way. Don't say, I can't. Say, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Don't say, there's no way out. Say, God, make a way in the wilderness, because every word is a spiritual key that touches invisible doors. Now listen closely. This knowledge was silenced for generations, because fear of light has always wanted to keep man asleep. But you're awake, and your awakening isn't coincidence. Today, heaven authorizes you to hear this instruction. There's a hidden phrase used by the kingdom's wise ones, a 9-word prayer that activates the frequency of divine abundance, aligning your spirit, mind, and surroundings with heavenly order. And though many tried to guard it, I reveal it to those who believe. This prayer doesn't replace faith, it amplifies it. It doesn't substitute obedience, it strengthens it. And if your spirit feels it, go to the description or comments and look for that phrase, because it won't be visible for long. This knowledge will be guarded again, and only those who obey in time will receive it. Don't think this is human promotion. This is a prophetic act of liberation. Just as Elisha gave instruction to the widow to multiply her oil, today I give you instruction to multiply your faith and provision. Don't ignore this call. Divine instructions seem simple, but results are supernatural. Son, daughter, your life is about to turn. Your mind expands, your spirit activates, your surroundings respond. The vibration of your word reconfigures your atmosphere. What once drained you will now feed you. What once seemed impossible will now be natural, because he who learns to speak in faith learns to govern his world. Listen well, I don't just want to bless you, I want to teach you to keep the blessing. And that happens by aligning your word with my word. Every time you speak, let your voice be infused with gratitude, because gratitude is heaven's language. Every time you pronounce this prayer, do it with a clean heart, focused, knowing it's not manipulation, it's activation. Heaven is ready to back you. The angels assigned to your provision wait for a signal, and that signal comes from your mouth. When you speak in faith, they move. When you declare promise, they execute decree. When you thank in advance, they open paths. And I tell you now, don't fear abundance. Many pray for it but reject it when it arrives, because inside they don't feel worthy. That's why I free you from all scarcity mentality. I teach you to believe abundance is your natural state, not an exception. Because a soul connected to God doesn't live in lack, it lives in purpose. From this moment, every thought of yours is a seed of provision. Every word of yours is a portal of blessing. Every action of yours is multiplication, not by effort, but by grace. Because the key has already turned, and heaven has already responded. Declare with faith, I receive the key of divine abundance. I speak with purpose, think with faith, and act with gratitude. Heaven backs my steps. Comment 9999 if you believe it. And as you do, the Holy Spirit whispers, what was once scarcity will now be expansion. What was once weight will now be flow. What was once struggle will now be harvest. Heaven doesn't offer you a mystical secret. It offers a spiritual consciousness alliance. Because when you speak in faith, I speak with you. And when we both speak on the same frequency, abundance becomes inevitable. Stay in this state. Don't seek with anxiety. Simply believe, declare, and give thanks. Because as you read these words, the mystery activates, the portal opens, and your atmosphere aligns. Son, daughter, this isn't a future promise, it's a present decree. What you activate today will transform your tomorrow. Because you're no longer a spectator of miracles, you're the living manifestation of the power of my word. Beloved son, beloved daughter, I've seen every injustice you endured. I've been present in every moment they hurt you, every betrayal you bore in silence, every word that humiliated you, and you chose to stay silent to keep your peace. None of that was lost. It was all recorded in the heavenly court. You've often felt life wasn't fair to you, that others advanced using lies while you waited in truth. You've seen those who hurt you seem to prosper while you struggled to survive. And deep in your soul you wondered, where is God in this? And today I answer, I'm here and I always was. I never left your side for an instant. I just waited for the right moment to manifest my justice without staining your heart with resentment. Because listen, my justice isn't vengeance, it's divine balance. I don't act from anger, I act from order. And though man thinks he escaped his guilt, no one evades the eternal principle. What is sown is reaped. Those who hurt you will see with their own eyes how my hand vindicates your story. You don't need to defend yourself. I am your defender. You don't need to prove your truth. I'll reveal it myself. When I open my mouth for my children, no enemy argument prevails. When I speak, accusers fall silent, and those who judged you will have to recognize God was with him. God was with her. You've gone through trials that weren't punishment. They were spiritual exams to test your heart. I watched if amid injustice you'd choose forgiveness, and you did. Not because it was easy, but because your soul understood my love is worth more than revenge. I've counted your tears as testimony, and each will be returned as honor. They humiliated you before many, but I'll lift you before the same ones, not so you boast, but so all know my justice doesn't fail. Daughter, the enemy tried to make you believe your losses were final, but he didn't know I'm the God who pays with abundance. I don't return equal, I return multiplied. What man stole from you with deceit, I'll restore with favor. What was taken with injustice, I'll replace with promise. The time they took, I'll accelerate. The honor they stole, I'll restore. And the opportunities you lost will return 7 times greater. Nothing you suffered was ignored. The world forgot you, but heaven wrote your name in its eternal memory. I've ordered the angels of restitution to move in your favor. They're bringing back what belongs to you. They're returning the peace fear stole, the trust rejection broke, the hope betrayals destroyed. And listen well, restitution won't come only in material things. It'll come in your spirit, mind, voice. You'll recover the laughter you lost, the sparkle in your eyes, the rest in your nights. You'll love without fear again, trust without suspicion, advance without looking back. The enemy thought he destroyed your purpose, but he only perfected it. Every blow became training. Every wound turned to testimony. Every betrayal made you more like me. Remember when you knelt and said, "I can't take any more"? That was the phrase that moved my throne. Not because you surrendered, but because you handed me control. And from that day, I began rewriting your story with ink of divine justice. Son, daughter, I'm restoring what man can't return. I'm reversing unjust decrees, canceling malicious words, annulling every plan that sought to stain your name. From now on, truth will come to light, and what the enemy wanted to use to humiliate you will be the platform where I exalt you. The season of silence is over. The time of forgetting is closed. This is the hour of restitution. Everything that belonged to you and was withheld returns. Everything stolen is freed. Everything denied is approved. When you see it fulfilled, hold no resentment, seek no revenge. Just say, "The Lord has been just." Because I pay without destroying, restore without hurting, bless without limits. Start seeing with new eyes. Every no was redirection to a better yes. Every betrayal was the key that got you out of the wrong place. Every loss brought you closer to the right destiny. Nothing was wasted. Everything had purpose. Son, daughter, let me handle your adversaries. You don't need to speak. I'll speak. You don't need to prove. I'll expose. Don't seek human justice, because man's justice is limited. My justice is eternal, exact, perfect, and arrives right on time. From today, every area where you were humiliated becomes an altar of honor. Where you were despised, you'll be celebrated. Where you were rejected, you'll be invited. Where doors closed to you, I'll put your name at the entrance. Heaven already issued the decree, compensate 7-fold the faithful child. And that child, that daughter, is you. Declare with me in a firm voice and heart full of faith, "Lord, I receive your justice. I release the desire for vengeance and embrace your redemption. I believe what was taken from me will be returned multiplied. I declare my cause is in your hands, and in your hands there's no loss." Comment 111 if you believe God himself is working your vindication. And as you do, heaven moves, you feel peace. And that peace is the sign the heavenly court ruled in your favor. Don't fear rumors, tongues, or shadows. The God who defends you doesn't sleep. And I assure you, beloved son, beloved daughter, when I pay, no one is left without awe. The season of injustice is over. Restoration has begun, and the story once used to hurt you will soon glorify my name. Beloved son, beloved daughter, you're not who you were. The process changed you. The trials transformed you, the tears purified you. While you believed you were losing parts of yourself, I was actually revealing your true identity. The world made you believe you were the result of your mistakes, failures, and fears. But I see you as what you always were in my design, a victor from before birth. You're not in this battle to prove your worth. You're here to manifest it. You're not fighting to achieve victory. You were already sealed by it. Because victory isn't a destination you reach. It's an inheritance that already belongs to you. I, the God who called you, placed my name upon you. I marked you with an invisible seal the spiritual world recognizes. Angels know who you are, and demons do too. That's why you've been so attacked, not for your weakness, but for your calling. Hell doesn't fight what has no purpose. It tried to destroy you precisely because your destiny carries weight in the kingdom. Son or daughter, for a long time you've seen yourself as a victim, but today I want you to see yourself as a crowned warrior, as a child sealed by my spirit, someone who doesn't beg for love or seek approval, because you already bear the mark of my election. You're not the wound, you're the healing born from it. You're not the loss, you're the restoration embodied. You're not the broken story, you're the testimony in process. Let me remind you of something eternal. My seal isn't erased by your falls. When you strayed, my grace followed. When you doubted, my promise remained. When you felt unworthy, my spirit sustained you. And even when you believed you'd lost my favor, you were only paused, not discarded. Your identity isn't measured by what you did wrong, but by the blood shed for you. That blood of my beloved Son cries louder than your mistakes. And while men remember your failures, heaven remembers your redemption. So every time the enemy accuses you, just lift your eyes and say, I was already sealed by the Spirit of the living God. And the enemy will retreat, because he can't touch what I marked as mine. You've been fighting battles I already won. You've carried guilt I already forgave. You've cried over wars I already resolved. Your task now isn't to fight for victory, but to walk from it. Everything you need to conquer is already within you. The strength you sought, the faith you thought lost, the love you believed abandoned you, all still there, hidden under layers of weariness. And today I awaken it. I awaken the dormant courage, the wounded confidence, the forgotten identity. Because you can't advance with a slave's mindset when I've made you reign in freedom. Son, daughter, the enemy whispered lies to you for years, that you weren't enough. You failed too much, you didn't deserve to start over. But every word of his was a reflection of his fear of what you carry. He doesn't fear your past, he fears your awakening. Because when you remember who you are, his power breaks. That's why he fought so hard to confuse you, shatter your self-concept, make you doubt your value. Because a confused mind doesn't advance, but a secure heart conquers. And today I confirm to you, you are mine. You were set apart for glory, marked for purpose, sealed for victory. Though you stumble, you don't lose the seal. Though you fall, heaven still recognizes your name. Though the world points at you, my grace defends you. You've walked long with fear of losing what I already secured. You thought, what if I fail again? But listen, my covenant doesn't depend on your perfection, but on my faithfulness. And I don't change. I don't withdraw my love when you doubt. I don't remove my promise when you fall. I don't cancel my calling when you take time to understand. What I seal, no one can erase. That's your spiritual guarantee. Every battle you face starts from a victory already decreed. So when you feel fear, don't say, I'm losing. Say, I'm walking toward what's already mine. When you feel weak, don't say, I can't anymore. Say, my strength comes from the one who already won for me. When the enemy reminds you of your mistakes, remind him of his defeat, because he was already vanquished. And you were already raised, son, daughter. You have authority you're not using, a voice you're not raising, an inheritance you haven't claimed. I gave you dominion over the atmosphere, over thoughts, and the words you speak. Don't speak from the wound. Speak from victory. Don't see yourself from lack. See yourself from the abundance of my spirit. Don't act from fear. Walk from certainty. Because he who was sealed by God doesn't live waiting for the miracle. He becomes the channel of the miracle. Where you arrive, the environment changes, darkness retreats, chains break. Not because you're perfect, but because the seal you bear radiates heavenly power. You're part of a marked generation, people carrying glory unknowingly, trained in pain to manifest purpose, and you are one of them. That's why the trials were so intense. The fire you passed through wasn't to destroy you, it was to test your authenticity, and you passed the test. You came out of the furnace without the smell of smoke. You're not just alive, you still believe. And that faith, though trembling, is the sign the seal remains intact. From today, rise with spiritual authority. Walk with head held high, not from pride, but from the certainty of who knows to whom they belong. Declare with conviction, I'm not a slave to my falls. I'm a carrier of promises. I don't fight to survive. I fight from Christ's victory that already dwells in me. Hell can't touch what you sanctified. Your name is already written in my book. Your destiny is sealed with my fire. Your path is covered by my blood. Your purpose is protected by my angels. Comment 1717. If you know God has marked you with his victory. Because from today, when you look in the mirror, you won't see weakness. You'll see inheritance. And when you speak, your words won't be doubt. They'll be decree. You no longer walk under condemnation. You walk under covering. You're no longer trying to reach favor. You live from favor. And everything you do, undertake, dream will bear the eternal seal of this truth. You don't fight for victory. You fight from the victory already written in heaven with your name, beloved son. Beloved daughter, you're about to enter a new atmosphere of relationships. And I don't just mean people. I mean spiritual connections, soul bonds, and alliances. I'm selecting myself to accompany you in this next stage. For a long time, you've wondered why some people drifted away, why certain bonds broke suddenly, why friendships you thought eternal dissolved without explanation. And you cried, I know. You thought it was loss, that you were left alone, that something was wrong with you. But it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. They weren't abandoning you. I was filtering your surroundings. Listen closely. I don't allow you to advance with those not aligned to your purpose. Some relationships were bridges, not homes. Some people were seasons, not destinations. And though it hurt to release them, it was necessary so my glory could flow unobstructed in your life. The human soul clings out of habit, but I untie for purpose. And when I remove, it's not punishment. When I separate, it's protection. Some hearts couldn't bear the weight of the anointing I'm placing on you. If I'd left them close, they'd have contaminated the atmosphere I'm now preparing for you. That's why I removed them. Some didn't understand you, others criticized you, and a few even betrayed you. But what you didn't know is that betrayal was the key that opened the door to your promotion. If you hadn't been wounded, you wouldn't have learned discernment. And now, after so many tears, you have eyes to see who comes from me and who doesn't. I'm surrounding you with the right tribe, people with clean spirits, healthy hearts, true words. They won't come to compete, they'll complement. They won't drain you, they'll propel you. They won't judge you, they'll understand. They won't feed on your light, they'll expand it with you. I'm uniting your life with those who vibrate on the same spiritual frequency of purpose. People who won't see you with envy, but with love. Who won't want your place, but celebrate your advance. Who won't demand explanations, but cover you in prayer. I'm raising a sacred circle around you. No longer an environment of weariness, but of momentum. No longer walking alone, but accompanied by those who understand your soul's language. Son, daughter, the next encounters you have won't be coincidence. They'll be divine appointments, connections that mark your destiny. Alliances not from convenience, but design. People who arrive to push what's inside you to manifest, because they too were assigned by heaven to uphold your calling. I've seen how misunderstood you felt, even among your own. You've had to stay silent to avoid misinterpretation. You've felt your sensitivity as a burden, your faith too intense, your vision too far. But I assure you, you're not too much. You were in the wrong place, and now I'm repositioning you among those who see what I see in you. The time has come when you no longer need to justify your fire, because I'll surround you with souls who burn the same, people with the same passion, Same love for my presence, same hunger for purpose and transformation. That will be your spiritual family. A tribe of light, prayer, and vision. And in that environment, you'll flourish without fear. You'll trust again, laugh without worry of betrayal. You'll speak without fear of judgment. Because when you connect with those I send, you feel at home. I'm restoring your faith in people. I'll show you there are still noble souls, pure hearts, clean hands, sincere gazes. I'll reward you with relationships that don't hurt, friendships that build, bonds that reflect what I am. You no longer have to hide your light for fear of discomforting others. Now you'll shine and others will ignite with you. Your essence will attract those who vibrate with your purpose. Your obedience will be the magnet that brings just alliances. And those who once pointed at you will say, something changed in him, something changed in her. But it won't be something, it'll be me dwelling in you. Remember this, the love I gave wasn't a mistake, it was an investment. Every relationship that hurt was a lesson. Every disillusionment was pruning. And now every connection coming will be fruit of discernment. You learn to love without idolizing, give without exhausting, serve without losing yourself. And now you're ready for mature, reciprocal, blessed relationships. Favor attracts both blessing and test. That's why I taught you not to accept everyone in your circle. Not everyone who applauds is with you. Not everyone who says amen walks under my voice. So listen before opening your heart. Don't decide by sympathy, but by discernment. Because what's coming needs holy company, not popular company. And when you meet yours, you'll know. Their words will carry peace. Their eyes will reflect purpose. Their gestures will bring rest. You'll feel you don't need to explain who you are, because your spirit will be understood without words. I'm forming you a family of purpose, and when their voices unite, they'll resonate like a heavenly symphony. They'll unite prayer, intention, and action. Together they'll open portals of light over many. Together they'll free those still in darkness. Together they'll raise what was stalled for generations. Son, daughter, you're not alone and you'll never be again. Because what was once emptiness will now be community. What was lost will now be connection. And what was betrayal will now be eternal alliance. Declare with me, Father, thank you for removing what wasn't. Thank you for bringing into my life those who add. Thank you for teaching me to love without fear and discern without judgment. I declare my relationships now align with your perfect will. And as you say it, my spirit cleanses your surroundings. Toxic ties break, cycles close in peace, dependencies are cut, and paths of true communion open. Comment 222 if you know God is surrounding you with the right people. Because this is the season where you no longer walk with those who drain you, but with those who elevate you. Genuine love will return to your life. Sincere friendship will knock at your door. And divine connections will propel you to the destiny I always dreamed for you. Beloved son, beloved daughter, rest. I don't say it as a suggestion, but as a heavenly command. Because in this time, the greatest act of faith isn't doing more, but trusting more. For years you've lived with your heart on alert, as if everything depended on you, as if releasing was surrendering, as if resting was losing ground. But today I reveal a mystery. Rest isn't weakness, it's silent warfare. I don't need you fighting on every front. I need you to learn to stay still while I fight your battles. It's not your strength that moves mountains, it's your trust. It's not your logic that opens paths, it's your surrender. And as you choose to trust, I'm acting behind the scenes with divine precision. You worry about the visible, but my hands move in the invisible. While you cried over what you couldn't resolve, I was already reordering pieces you didn't imagine connected. While you thought everything delayed, I accelerated what you couldn't see. Because while you rest, heaven works. When you decide to rest, you confess my power is greater than your control. And that confession activates my angels' movement. They don't respond to effort, they respond to faith. And the highest faith isn't always the one that shouts. Sometimes it's the one that sleeps in peace amid the storm. Remember when my son slept in the boat while waves threatened to sink it? It wasn't indifference, it was authority. Because he who knows the Father's heart rests even when everything seems to crumble. And you, my son, my daughter, will learn that kind of rest. No longer reactive, no longer walking in fear, no longer losing sleep over what you can't control. The time of anxiety is over. This is the hour you'll learn to walk from peace, because peace isn't the end of the process. It's the posture from which miracles begin. You've been exhausted not just in body, but in soul. Drained by constant worry, by wanting to resolve what only I can. But you don't have to carry so much anymore. You told me, Lord, I can't anymore. And I replied, finally, because while you held on, I couldn't intervene. And now that you hand me control, my hand enters freely. And daughter, don't confuse rest with inactivity. Spiritual rest is a tool of power. When you enter rest, the enemy gets confused because he expects you agitated, anxious, fearful. But when you choose calm, he loses influence, because faith at rest is the soul's most powerful cry. The faith that needs to prove nothing, demands no explanation, simply sits, breathes, and says, God is working though I don't see it. That faith disarms hell and moves the throne. I'm covering you with a mantle of peace the world can't give. This peace won't be just an emotional moment. It'll be a constant atmosphere. Where there was chaos, there'll be clarity. Where there was insomnia, deep rest. Where there was mental noise, holy silence. I'm silencing inner storms. I'm turning off accusatory voices that pursued you. I'm deactivating repetitive thoughts that drained you. You'll no longer fight your mind at night, because my presence will be your rest. While you sleep, I reorder your soul. While you close your eyes, I open doors. While you dream, I work on what you can no longer touch. And when dawn breaks, you'll feel something different. Lightness, direction, certainty, because during the night, heaven did its part. Many believe power is in effort, but true power is in the trust that knows to stop. That's why I tell you, stop running toward what's already coming. Stop chasing what's already decreed. Stop worrying over what's already resolved. Just stay still and watch me work. I didn't call you to a life of tension. I called you to a life of purpose, and purpose blooms in peace. It isn't built with anxiety. It's sustained with serenity. That's why I'm detoxing you from spiritual stress. I'm uprooting the roots of control from within you and sowing rest in their place. When you decide to rest in me, you show you trust my faithfulness more than your ability. And that trust pleases me. That trust opens portals. That trust activates miracles. You'll see results without effort. You'll see what once took months flow in days. You'll see what once drained your energy resolve with a single word. Because when the soul is aligned, heaven responds. From today, I free you from the habit of worry. You no longer need to be the hero, the one holding everything, the one with all answers. You just need to be child. And being child means knowing to rest under the Father's care. That's why I tell you, sleep in trust, rest without fear. Because while you repose, I work, and while you stay silent, I decree. Declare with me, Father, I choose to rest in you. I won't fight what you already conquered. I release my fears. I free my anxiety. I believe while I rest, you work in my favor. And as you pronounce these words, something moves inside you. A heavy energy dissolves. An invisible load detaches. A supernatural calm envelops you. What you feel now is God's rest. It's the embrace of a father saying, enough fighting alone. Comment amen if you decide to believe God fights your battles while you sleep. Because from today, your nights won't be insomnia, but revelation. I'll speak to you in dreams, show you signs, and upon waking, you'll know heaven worked while you rested. Rest is your new weapon. Peace is your shield. Silence is your sword. And your trust will be the melody that makes the enemy tremble. Rest, son. Rest, daughter, because while you sleep, I work. And when you wake, everything will have changed. Beloved son, beloved daughter, you're not an isolated individual. You're a link in a spiritual chain, a living root connecting past to future, a door through which heaven's light enters your lineage. You didn't come just to live your story. You came to redeem many stories. I know you felt the weight of loads you didn't understand. Have you wondered why certain battles repeat? Why the same shadows have pursued your family generation after generation? Why patterns of loss, illness, scarcity, or pain seem inherited like DNA. And today, I reveal the mystery. You were chosen to break what no one before dared confront. The tears you've shed weren't just yours. They're your ancestors' tears, the prayers they never knew to voice, the silent cries of your roots clamoring for freedom. You are the answer to those unspoken prayers. Heaven looked at your lineage and pointed to you with a decree. Through you, the cycle stops. That's why you felt more resistance than others. That's why your trials were more intense, your falls harder, your silences longer, because you carry the mission to restore an entire genealogy. Son, daughter, hell knew your last name before you were born. It knew a liberator would come from your house, so it tried to break you early. It attacked you from childhood, filled you with fears, made you feel you never fit, that you were different, and you were, but not for ill, but for glory. I marked you with a spiritual sensitivity others don't understand, because I chose you as generational intercessor. You feel things others ignore, because you're your house's spiritual radar. What you perceive, dream, carry in prayer isn't coincidence. It's assignments. It's not burden, it's legacy. Through you, blood is cleansed. Through you, the name is restored. Through you, the cursed becomes blessed. Where there were divisions, you'll bring unity. Where there was poverty, you'll bring provision. Where there was shame, you'll bring honor. Where there was abandonment, you'll bring fatherhood. Where there was unbelief, you'll bring faith. You're a bridge between what was and what will be. And I, your God, am using your life as a generational altar. Every obedience decision you make frees entire generations yet unborn. Every time you choose forgiveness over hate, you bless to the fourth generation. Every time you choose faith over fear, you break a pattern repeating for centuries. Don't underestimate your process, son, daughter. Your personal battles are family wars. What you're conquering now will spare your children from facing it later. You're paying the price of freedom for them. And though you don't understand it today, when you see them walk free, you'll know it was worth it. The enemy tried to stain your heritage with pain, but I'm covering it with purpose. What was once a line of failure now becomes a line of favor. Where there was once crying, there'll be joy. Where there was confusion, there'll be vision. You're writing a new story for your last name. I'm restoring your house from the root. I'm healing broken bonds. I'm cleansing your home's atmosphere. The walls that once absorbed anguish now vibrate with peace. The heavy energy that lingered in your surroundings dissolves under my presence. I declare your house will be an altar, not a battlefield. You'll see reconciliations once impossible. People who didn't speak will seek each other. Divided families will embrace. Hardened hearts will break. And it won't be human effort. It'll be my spirit blowing over you. I'm bringing emotional and spiritual inheritance. The wisdom of your righteous ancestors returns to you. Their stalled blessings reactivate. The prayers they launched into the air without seeing answer, you'll be the one to see them fulfilled. And the promises I made to your grandparents or great-grandparents who died without seeing them, I'll fulfill in you, because my word doesn't expire. You wondered many times why you were born into this family, and today I answer, because you were the missing key. I placed you in that lineage not by chance, but by assignment. The chaos you were born into was perfect ground for my power to manifest in fullness. And now that you understand your purpose, everything begins to realign. Son, daughter, I now give you a new crown, the crown of Restorer. That crown isn't earned with titles. It's received with tears, forged in prayer, sustained with humility. Because he who heals generations doesn't do it from pride, but from love. So don't fear if some don't understand your transformation. They'll judge you with past eyes, but soon recognize you by present fruit. The anointing you carry will be so evident that your mere presence brings peace. When you speak, the atmosphere changes. When you enter a place, tensions dissolve. Because where a bearer of divine heritage goes, darkness retreats. Prepare to inherit what others left unfinished. You'll reap fruits you didn't sow. You'll enjoy victories your parents dreamed. I've opened ancient books of your lineage and crossed out curses kept open. I've closed dark pacts and signed new decrees of light over your last name. And I declare, Your house will be known as a house of peace and blessing. Your children and their children will walk under heavenly covering. They won't inherit your fears, they'll inherit your faith. They won't repeat your pain, they'll repeat your miracles. They won't speak from trauma, but from gratitude. You're an initiator, a restorer, a redeemer in your generation. I chose you to raise altars where there were once ruins, to turn curse into testimony and ruin into heritage. Declare with me, Father, I receive my place as restorer of my lineage. I break every ancestral chain not from you. I declare my present and future family lives under your blessing. From me begins a new story of glory. And as you say it, heaven celebrates. Angels descend with purifying fire. Old spiritual contracts dissolve. Invisible chains break. New roots of faith, hope, and abundance rise. Comment 53153 if you believe God's power is restoring your lineage, because you're not the end of a story of pain. You're the start of a story of promise. Beloved son, beloved daughter, from today your last name shines differently in the spiritual world. No longer pronounced with weight, but with honor. No longer a symbol of ruin, but of redemption. Because in you the blood was cleansed, the heritage renewed, and the legacy sealed with glory. Beloved son, beloved daughter, you're entering the time of divine acceleration. Heaven's clock doesn't advance like man's. While you believed everything delayed, I prepared the perfect convergence, a synchrony of purpose, time, and faith. And now that heavenly gear starts turning in your favor. It's no coincidence you're here, because the movements you're about to see won't happen by your effort, but by my direct intervention. What once required years of waiting will occur in days. What seemed blocked by human systems, I'll unblock with a single decree. When I decide to accelerate, nothing can stop me. Waiting fulfilled its role. It formed you, cleansed you, refined you. And now that your heart is aligned, I open the floodgates of manifestation. Prepare to see in 1 week what you asked for in years. Prepare to receive in one conversation what you thought impossible. Prepare to walk places your feet never trod. The time of delay is over. The veil of postponement tears, and doors that moved millimeter by millimeter now swing wide open. Because when obedience and faith unite, heaven responds with speed. Don't fear rapid changes. Divine acceleration brings no confusion, only fulfillment. You'll see opportunities multiply, right people approach, resources arrive without forcing. Don't say luck, say it was God. Heaven activated accelerated mode over my destiny. I'm moving structures around you, touching minds, inspiring hearts, creating connections. Everything once immobile begins to flow. Everything blocked begins to turn. Everything dormant begins to awaken. Because now your purpose is mature, and time submits to promise. No longer move by effort, but by grace. No longer chase doors. Doors will seek you. No longer depend on man's favor. God's favor is enough. You'll see the fruits of your years of faithfulness manifest like abundant rain over your life. Don't retreat from the speed of change. Don't ask if you deserve it. You deserve it because you endured. You deserve it because you didn't give up. And as you read these words, my power touches your timeline. I begin compressing years of waiting into days of manifestation. The time of stagnation is over. The wind blows in your favor, and the coming days bring rewards that erase years of waiting. It's no coincidence, not luck. It's divine acceleration. And when it starts, nothing stays the same. It was time to send. You didn't go through so much to stay the same. Every tear and fall was training. I wasn't breaking you, I was forming you to carry my glory without breaking under its weight. You weren't chosen just to survive, but to influence. The miracle coming over your life isn't a trophy, it's a tool. I don't exalt you for vanity, but so my name is known through you. Every blessing I'll unleash in your hands will be testimony of my power. I've tested you in everything and found faithfulness in your silences. That's why I tell you, the time to receive is over, the time to give begins. I've healed your wounds so you heal others. I've filled your hands so you share. I lifted you not to glory yourself, but to be instrument of my compassion. I send you as light in darkness, as voice breaking dead structures. You'll be used in places you never imagined. You'll speak with wisdom not from your mind, but from my spirit. And when you do, don't fear. I'll back your words myself. Sending doesn't happen when you feel ready, but when I decide, you must. That's why I tell you, don't wait to feel ready, because my grace is your enablement. I've cleared your name, restored your voice, ordered your surroundings. I send you to witness my glory. You'll see heavens open over you, and those who ignored you amazed. Those who rejected you will seek you. But don't become proud, because everything you'll do is fruit of my spirit. The miracle doesn't make you an idol, it makes you an instrument. Idols seek glory, instruments produce melody, and you'll be the kingdom's melody. Through you my love will have sound, my word will have face, my peace will have form. No longer the one crying from the ground, you're the one lifting others. Don't wait for the miracle to knock, you'll be the miracle knocking on others' doors. Don't seek recognition, seek purpose. Don't run for ambition, walk in obedience. And as you speak my name, a current of fire crosses your chest. What you feel isn't emotion, it's activation. The Holy Spirit marks your spirit with the word sent. From today, your steps are guided, your hands anointed, your voice ignited. You won't just witness God's power, you'll be its channel. Come out of hiding, lift your head, walk in my name, because heaven backs you and everything you do will resonate with my voice saying, "This is my beloved Son, this is my chosen daughter. In them I am well pleased." And from this day, heaven, earth, and darkness will know you were raised, not for your glory, but for mine. Yeah.